Hey guys, this is Christian with MBS Fitness. I'm basically making a video portion for the article, so if you hate reading, you just watch the video, but you probably won't know that because the video is going to be at the bottom of the article. So, first part, just like the article says, these are reasons why you should be using specialty bars in your training. Number one reason is for drawing attention to yourself. As you can see, I got the haircut just done up for you guys, so that's the number one thing, to draw attention to yourself. And then you use specialty bars to draw more attention to yourself. All right guys, we're gonna go in order basically from the least complex to the most complex when it comes to specialty bars. Right here, we have a gray series bar that you see wrapped with gray tape. There's supposed to be brown on here as well. Every specialty bar we have in the facility has a color code to it that tells you what the bar is and the weight. This is called a buffalo bar. Now, the personality and characteristics of this bar in particular, along with every other specialty bar, is it takes less strain to get on the bar. It puts less strain on your shoulder. Okay? When you're not getting under a straight bar and cranking down, there's less strain here. So this curves to your back. That allows you to get under the bar easier, and it puts less torque on that shoulder. Okay? This bar is really good for transferring from using specialty bars and then getting used to a straight bar again. The main characteristic on this bar that you gotta be ready for is when you start the descent of your squat, it will like to shift on you a little bit, and when you come out of the hole, it shifts on you a little bit, but nowhere near compared to the rest of the safety or the specialty bars that we're gonna be using today. You're gonna set up on this bar like so. All right guys, the second bar we're gonna look at, which is a little more complex, but it's actually easier to use, is the Elite FTS Safety Squat Bar, also known as the SS Yoke Bar. So, this bar also decreases the amount of strain put on your shoulders, even more so than the Buffalo Bar, which we just looked at, okay? Now, the special characteristics of this bar, if you look at it, you can see you have handles down here, and the angle of the bar is cut drastically different than a regular bar. Normally, the bar sits on your shoulders and the weight sits out from it. This is going to drop the weight to a different angle. So, the main characteristic of this bar that gets everybody is it throws you forward. So it forces you to use a little more quad. A lot of people like to do this as a variation for front squat. And another cool thing about this bar is it's very versatile. You can use this bar for a lot of different things. We're not going to get into that today. The way this bar works is it actually goes around your neck and sits on your shoulders. So while you're using it, all that force is pulling you forward. You're going to use this bar by setting up like so. Now, make sure when you're using this bar, when you're holding the handles, do not push or pull the handles. You want to stay as stable as possible with this, because if you don't, it is going to add to the characteristics and personality of the bar in throwing you forward. All right guys, the next bar we're going to look at, Elite FTS Cambered Bar. So, this bar looks drastically different than the safety squat bar that we just looked at. A few of the characteristics. You have two horizontal portions of this bar and one vertical portion. The top horizontal portion sits on your back like a normal bar. The lower horizontal portion is where the weight sits. Now think about that for a second. You have a bar that is now loaded, but where it sits on your back is not where the weight sits. The weight sits a good foot to 2 feet below where it is on your back, okay? That is the characteristic and personality of this bar. As you can see, it's already wanting to rock inside of the rack, okay? This bar will oscillate or swing on you as you go into your descent, and even more so when you come up out of the hole. To fight this is gonna vary on your hand position, and there's gonna be about 3 hand positions, more like 4, that you can use on this bar. The first hand position that you can grab is on the lower horizontal part of the bar, okay? Now, that will give you a good spot to hold. However, a lot of people have a tendency to push and pull. So while you're in your squat holding down there, if you push or pull under a max load, that's gonna add to the characteristics of this bar and it's gonna wobble on you more. The second grip is going to be a hybrid grip. You're gonna grab on the horizontal and vertical part on the bar together. For me personally, this is the grip that suits me the best because I can control the wobble as much as possible and I'm able to stay the most stable during the lift. One of the other places, you can grab on the vertical portion of the bar. Now, the only downside to this is when you grab on the vertical portion, that makes you chicken wing out really, really far. When you do that, that's gonna promote you to go forward. So again, this bar wobbles on you, so it makes it harder to do that. The hardest position to hold this bar is gonna be like a normal squat bar and putting your hands up top. That means you are not stabilizing this wobble at all. And when you come out of the hold, you're letting this do whatever it wants to do, and you have to brace as hard as you possibly can to fight this. I'm gonna set up on this bar in the rack with all 4 different hand positions that we just covered. All right, guys, the last specialty bar that we have is the worst one of all, okay? Some mastermind at Elite that decided to take the safety squat bar that we looked at and the cambered bar and join them together and create an offspring called the spider bar. It is literally a cambered bar and a safety squat bar put together. So the characteristics of this bar are the genes of the other two back to back. When you come out of the hole with this bar, it is going to throw you forward, and then the oscillation or wobble effect of the camber bar literally will yank you back. So it's now more prominent to get pulled forward and then yank you back the whole time as you're coming up out of the hole. You're gonna set this bar and set up with it the exact same way you do with the safety squat bar, as it has handles in front of you. I would not recommend grabbing on the side. You're gonna be much more stable if you grab the handles up front. Remember, especially on this bar, do not push or pull, but set and just rest your hands on the handles, and that will make you in the most efficient position to utilize this bar. It's gonna set up like this.